Happy Sunday. Welcome to Viewers Voices, the weekly show in which I highlight responses that I've received to the videos I push out on Wednesdays and Fridays. So let's start with the video titled Donu's Week from 9 days ago. It came out on a Friday and the subtitle was, I finally conquer my biggest fear. Now, my biggest fear was my fear of sleeping in the family home in Port Harcourt in southern Nigeria. And the reason I was afraid to sleep there was because I was dragged out of my bedroom in that house by kidnappers 10 years ago, 2015, and held hostage for 2 weeks. It was a really traumatic experience, and I just couldn't feel safe in that house anymore, even though I had some therapy. And so I wasted a lot of money on hotels whenever I went to my hometown. And the thing is that I'm the only one of my parents' children. I mean, both of my parents are gone, and I'm the only one who spent significant amounts of time in Nigeria. And I mean, my siblings all live in the UK. And the only one who ever comes here other than me is my sister, who never comes for more than a couple of weeks a year. So long story short, if I'm not going to be spending time in the family home whenever I visit Port Harcourt, then we might as well rent the house out. And that is exactly what we did recently to an enterprising young man who has turned it into a boutique hotel, because it's quite a big house with, nice grounds. And so I was invited to the opening of this boutique hotel, and the young man who runs it urged me to overcome my fear of sleeping in that house. And so I did. Spent the night there, the night of the opening. And I got through the night, a little bit of mild anxiety, but I did it. And so I said in this video that came out 9 days ago that I would advise anybody who suffers from a phobia to overcome their fear, to confront it. Otherwise, you're going to be a hostage to fear forever. And that's not a good thing. So Patricia Wask, one of my regular viewers, has congratulated me for that decision. She also congratulated me for doing well with my health, because I said in the same video that I'd had a medical checkup and my doctor was very pleased with my results. Having been diagnosed with diabetes, I think it was in April or May, I have spent the past few weeks avoiding sugar, avoiding carbs, trying to bring my weight down. And, it's beginning to show. So, doctor is happy, says I'm on the right track. By the way, I've just noticed, because I'm filming today's video myself, because the young man who helps me with videos doesn't work on Sundays. And unless we film the Sunday video on Friday, so forget about the office logistics. Let's just say that when I'm doing the filming myself on Sundays, I get to see my face in the camera. And I've noticed that it's less puffy than it was, a week or two or a month or two ago. So definitely going in the right direction. Even if I still have a bulging stomach and the rest of my body still needs a massive kilo drop. I'm still fat, but we're working on it. Okay, so Patricia, thanks for congratulating me on the progress I'm making with my health. And also, thanks for the congratulations you sent about my first cousin's daughter who has become a judge. Okay, so as you say, it's all positive, upbeat goings on in my world, and all is well. And I'm actually feeling really bright and optimistic today. So Okay, so the next one letter attached to that video is one from a guy called Victory All the Way, or a lady, Victory All the Way, not Victor, Victory All the Way. And Victory All the Way thanks me for the video, which he or she appears to have enjoyed, and says that facing your fear is the best way to defeat fear. And you're very right, that has been my experience. I mean, I don't know if you can ever totally get rid of a phobia. Because, you know, when I was little, I was bitten by a dog. And not only did it just bite me, it chased me and then it jumped on top of me. And for years and years and years, honestly, I couldn't even be near a small dog without having a mental breakdown. And then when I had Oliver, my son, who is now 30, he was such a dog lover as a child that must have been around when I was about 40, yeah? I decided, somebody gave my son a dog for Christmas. I was absolutely furious. A friend of mine gave my son one of her puppies. Her own dog had lots of puppies, and she gave my son one of those puppies for Christmas. I was furious, but Oliver was so enthralled by this puppy. I didn't have the heart to give it away. So I managed, I grudgingly agreed that the puppy could live with us. And his name was Bobby. And I became quite fond of him, very fond of him. He used to sit on the couch next to me in my living room. And anyway, he was a darling. He was a little dark. I'll see if I can find a photograph of him one of these days to show you, because sadly he did pass away. But he became one of the loves of my life. And as a result of Bobby's existence and you know, the fact that he was sharing a home with me and my son, I kind of like overcame my dog phobia, but only to some extent, because Bobby was small. So even then I was nervous. You know, I couldn't feed him. I couldn't put my hand near his mouth. I could only stroke him tentatively. So yeah, I got over my phobia, but not totally. Yeah. So with this thing about not sleeping in the family home, because of the bad memories of the kidnapping, I got over my phobia by sleeping there a couple of weeks ago. But would I be able to stay in that house alone? You know, maybe, I'm not sure. I think, you know, it's now a hotel, so there are lots of other people staying there that night. And so but at least, you know, try. Even if you can't totally overcome the phobia, try and at least partially overcome it, okay? So let's look at responses to the video I put out last Wednesday on Nigeria Unfiltered, the weekly show in which I highlight all the stuff about Nigeria I think we should talk about. And the letters from there, the responses, one from Patricia saying, this particular one was about the former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, who died last week, this week that has just passed. And Patricia says, rest in peace. And she says she agrees with my rejection of the age-old adage to never speak ill of the dead, because, you know, what I did was I mentioned some of the good things about him, but also pointed out that he made some mistakes that, you know, should not be whitewashed or completely overlooked just because he's dead. And we want to be nice about people who are no longer here, especially if they passed away recently. So Patricia agrees with me and says that the truth is the truth. You can honor this president's former service and have respect and sympathy for his loved ones who are grieving without lionizing a flawed leader who failed in some regards. Patricia, that's a really good way of putting it. You've said in the past that you're not very smart or very well educated. Wow. But all your letters are so intelligent and so well put, you know? I mean, there's a lot of people who, you know, they feel that they're very intelligent and they've got, you know, lots of degrees and things, and they can't string two words together in an empathetic way or articulate way that the world can understand. Thank you for that. And for your regular contributions. And then we have one from a guy called Fred Omfonwa. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, Fred. And he just says Buhari was a bad leader, period. But he also says, God bless you, Mama. So thank you, Fred. And I must say, I think that's the only responses I had to last week's Nigeria Unfiltered video. Got loads and loads of responses on Twitter, Facebook, and on other social media channels. So I only read out the ones from YouTube normally, because it's so difficult to pull responses from all the different platforms and amalgamate them into a little short program on Sundays, overview on Sundays. So I only, as a general rule, go through the responses on YouTube, which are actually quite scanty. It's interesting, because you'd think most of the responses would come immediately beneath the video they refer to. But funnily enough, they don't. YouTube, I normally just have a small handful of responses. Most of the people who bother to give me any feedback do it on other platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Okay? So I don't know if any of the people who respond on these other social media platforms watch Viewers' Voices, but if they do, I want to apologize. I never single your responses out on this weekly Sunday program, because it's quite difficult for me. I'm already putting out 2 videos a week on Wednesdays and Fridays. I also have to do a lot of writing for Vanguard newspaper, where I have a weekly column, Africa Report magazine, where I write articles. So I can't do it all. So as I said, I just comment on the YouTube responses 90% of the time. Okay, so next, let's just have a quick look at the Viewers' Voices video from last Sunday, because some people do respond to the Viewers' Voices video. Okay, so there's only one this week. Oh no, there are 2. There's one from Patricia, which is just lots of kisses. Back to you. And then there's one from Patricia Wask, which is the kisses. And then there's another one from Patricia Russell, which also contains a heart emoji. So lots and lots of love to you, Patricia Russell, as well. And you said, happy Sunday. I'm not too concerned about Prince Harry or Meghan Markle, because I think I mentioned them. They really annoy me. Not because I'm a royalist. I'm not a huge fan of the British royal family, but I just don't like people who so badly behave. Young people who have no respect for their elders. And I just don't like the way they talk to the world. And while his grandmother and grandfather, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, were alive, I'm sure that they received some slights, and they had some issues with some family members. But don't we all? Everybody, except for a very, very small, tiny handful of extremely lucky people, every family contains tensions. That doesn't mean you go public and start dissing your family on Oprah Winfrey's show. But hey, listen, I won't go into all that. Let's get back to Patricia Russell's letter. She says, I'm not too concerned about Prince Harry or Meghan Markle, because a lot of people also, they don't disagree, they don't like them, they don't dislike them, they just don't see why they're relevant. And I think that might be what Patricia's trying to say, is that she doesn't care what they do. And maybe I shouldn't either. It's not like they're very serious people. The world is full of serious issues we should be worried about. But anyway, I can't help it. I just don't like those two. Anyway, I said, Patricia says she loves the podcast. I'm a white American woman, and she shares my thoughts. She has 3 biracial children, and she's also trying to share with her 7 granddaughters. Please, with the help of your voice, we can share more. Great video today, as always. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, I've got a biracial child, so let's just hope that the world becomes a more open and happy place for people of all races and religions who have good hearts, you know? Thank you. So see you next week.